Judgment.
Oh, okay. And what about you, Nirvana? Now you're young, Nirvana. How, now, like Nirvana, you're very young.
Yeah, I'm 22,
Mm-hmm.
turning 23 this Saturday on August 4th, Carabana weekend.
Okay.
The community center is also having a celebration. I'm so glad for them, the great community of family and friends. And we could build the experience through the LGBT.
So what made you come to Toronto?
When I was 3.5, my parents were splitting up and my mom was moving back to Toronto, where she was originally from, but grew up more off of Toronto, half an hour away in Caledon. And she said that she wanted to give me a proper life that I wouldn't have had because of my sexuality and my gender coming out at a young age.
When was the first sexual experience for you? Since you're the youngest one, what was the first sexual experience for you? Was it heterosexual or gay?
My first one was actually when I was a little homophobic, shockingly. I got grown up by a lot of stereotype, typical and like thrown in my face type of gays. And like I was confused about my gender at a very young age. But then at the end of the day, I knew that there was someone missing. I was a twin, but at the end of the day, I lost the connection with her, but I found connection with my sexuality and myself, and I found out who I was.
Okay.
But it started when I was 13, and I met a 21-year-old.
So Matt, coming to Toronto, when did you start hanging out here? When did you know that Toronto was home to you? And this community was home to you?
Me, like, 3 years ago, right? But I was on the street for 10 years, right?
Okay.
During time, like, that was, I was there for 2006 and 2016, right? On the street here, right? I was planning, whatever, robbed, whatever, right?
Okay.
And then I got that, right? Now I work.
Okay. Now, Patty, now, you know, we've been friends a very long time, and I know you've been around in the business. And now, what is it that you think Nevada is doing wrong in coming to Toronto? Do you, like, what is it that you see? Do you see his path taking the path that you've taken, or do you know her?
No, yeah, I met her the last couple of years. What is I can't say she's doing anything wrong. I mean, she's working at her own pace. She's working with what she's got. I mean, there wasn't a lot of resources back in the day when I came out, right? As to there is now, right? So I'm not going to sit here and pass judgment or say she's doing anything wrong. She's working with what she feels comfortable working with.
Well, can you offer anybody on this panel any advice so they don't take the course that you take? So now you said that you dealt in crystal meth.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been using crystal meth?
On and off for almost 2 years.
Okay. Have you sought help for this?
No.
Okay.
Now,
Now,
prior to that, I was in the I had a crack addiction for 30 plus years, and when I first found out about the crystal, that I've been clean almost 7 years now of the crack, and I don't use crystal meth daily. I periodically might use it maybe 2 or 3 times in a month.
now,
Harm reduction.
okay. Do you do drugs with others?
I do.
Okay. And what's the experience that you get out of that? What is it? Is it a social?
See, once again, it all depends on the individual, where they're at in their life, or what they're struggling with, could make the trip, not so pretty.
Okay. Now, at the end of the day, what is it that you want the people out there to know, Matt, about you and your addiction? Now, are you seeking help at this time for whatever addiction that you're dealing with?
I'm not doing it my age, but I don't want these people here doing that fucking thing. I don't want these people doing the crack, nothing. Like,
Okay.
very bad.
So he has a very strong opinion about he doesn't want people doing the crack or the meth. We understand that. We don't want any of our friends doing crack or the
Correct.
meth.
Yes.
Now, with that being said, what was the first place, Patty, you did drugs? What was the first place? Who introduced you to crystal meth?
Well,
It's
Nobody
not my
intro-
name.
nobody introduced me. I was living at Ecu Homes on Church in Alexander, and I was still smoking crack.
Okay.
And my neighbor was smoking crystal meth.
Okay.
And I said, "What is that?" He said, "It's crystal meth. How do you do it?" He showed me how to do it. But then when I asked him for one, he wouldn't give me one. But when I
Okay.
offered him money, that
Mhm.
changed the thing. And as soon as I did my first hit of crystal meth, the crack addiction was deleted.
Oh, okay. Now,
It's a very I just want to add, it's a very sexual thing too amongst the gay community.
all right.
I find with the crystal meth.
So, did you find it easier to get the boys with the drugs?
It was easier for me to actually engage and communicate with guys instead of like backing down or shying away. With the crystal meth, I'm out there. I'm more forward in engaging.
Okay. Now, how much money in one day would you actually spend on drugs?
Not a hell of a lot, really.
Okay. So,
Well, it depends. I mean,
You was me. You was me.
um,
What you was me?
me personally, a 40 bag of Tina would last me a couple days.
okay. Now, would you share that with anybody, or just do it by yourself?
Well, it depends. If you're a hot bottom, then maybe. All right.
That's amazing. Now, if you were to see the young children today, what would you tell them about drug use and the behavior that you actually took part of? What would you tell the young people out there today, or just anybody that you see are heading down that path?
Think twice about getting or starting, whether it be crack or heroin or crystal meth. But then again, in the same token, I'm not here to tell anybody anything. Everybody, like, I mean, I learned the hard way,
Okay.
right? People are gonna learn what they want to learn, I guess, when it comes to the drug cartel.
Now, how often in the last year would you say you've done drugs? Once a week, twice a week, three
Well, like I
times
said,
a
it,
week?
it depends, because there was times where I went like 2 weeks smoking crystal meth, and then there was like times where I went like a couple months without using. So it depends. It varies.
All right. So now, do you have a boyfriend?
I
Are you in a
do.
relationship at the
I
moment?
am.
Now, what is this? Is this person also doing crystal meth?
Yes, he is.
Okay. So the two of you have an understanding. Now, so you're responsible? You're a
Yes,
responsible
yes.
meth user.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. So
I'm,
maybe,
how can I say it? Functional crystal meth user. I pay my bill, I pay my cable, I pay my bills, I pay my rent.
Mhm.
Everything's paid before I even dabble.
now, are you still escorting?
No, actually, I see my sugar daddy twice a month, and that's good enough.
Okay. Now, how often do you think about? Does this when you're actually doing the drugs? Do you actually think of having other partners, or are you stuck with just one partner?
No, my partner has asked me. I mean, we've communicated, engaged with each other about having threesomes. But when it comes down to it, it's not a good thing. It just doesn't go.
Now, Nirvana, how much money have you spent on drugs or alcohol? And do you use drugs once a week or twice a week?
Usually, actually 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay. Now, how much money do you actually spend a week on drugs or alcohol?
In a week's time, it'd probably be anywhere from $600 to $800. And I used to be a massive addict with some things at a young age due to experiences and life problems. But at the end of the day, I've cut down by over like 3/4 of the way. I'm only at 1/4.
Now,
And I'm still proud, but I still have an addiction and I'm gonna conquer it one day.
have you sought help for your addiction?
Yes, I
Okay.
have seeked help for my addiction.
Like what
with
did you
food
do?
camp.
Where?
I went through KMH also. I knew I had an issue, I had mental health issues and physical issues, but at the end of the day I knew I had a problem and I knew what was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I fought for my rights to go in there. I had seizures at the time. I broke down and they had to wheel me in, and I said I'm not leaving this hospital till I get the answers.
Now,
They medicated me. I had a few addictions to the pills though,
Mhm.
but I had a high immune system where sometimes I got affected by those. But it made me a bigger and stronger person knowing that I had to fight for something. I know I could make it right.
Now, how do you feel about other addicts? When you're around other addicts, how does it make you feel? When you see the reaction of the public and they're watching people that they presume are drug addicts or alcoholics, because people watching you from a distance only assume because you're in the park. I'm going to be honest, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, and I drink very rarely. So I've never, my goal here is for my audience to have an understanding about the crystal meth, the alcohol, the sexual addictions that we all sometimes suffer, whether we're away from family, we've lost our family, we've lost our job, we've lost our pride, we've been hurt in relationships. This is why I'm doing this show, is because I want it to be an educational show. And I want people to understand that we are serious about cleaning up the community and getting the people that need help the help that they need. It's my job to do that.
Good for you, Stephanie.
Thank you very much. Now, Matt, you had a wife, right? Did you have a wife, or were you ever married?
Nobody asked me.
Okay, were you ever married?
Nobody asked me.
Oh, nobody ever asked you. Now, Nirvana, since you're the young one, are you in a relationship?
I've actually been in a few. I've recently, only within the last 3 years, been in a gay relationship with a gay partner. I've had bi-curious coming out, if not straight men, approach me and have relationships, if not females. I have an ex-wife and one ex-fiance.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've heard of CAMH. We've all heard of CAMH. Now, has any of you been there?
No.
Now, what is your experience you had with CAMH?
I had 2 experiences with CAMH.
Mm-hmm.
The first time was when I was signing myself in as a patient, checking myself in, and defending my own rights and health, knowing I had issues and seizures, and finally overcoming my problems with addiction and drug use of alcohol and other substances, and telling them I need help. And the second time was when I got put in and accused of something that never happened. I fought it in court, and you know what, it came out that it was nothing what it was supposed to be, but due to the medication and stuff, that they thought I was going into an epileptic seizure, and I made it out of it okay after going flatline.
That's great. That's great. Now, Patty, now this is more of a deeper question for me to ask, because I just think that the audience would like to know. Now, to support your habit in drugs, now when you weren't working or you didn't have any source of income, how did you get money for drugs?
Well, like I said, I mean, when I was a teenager, it was weed and acid, and it was, you got your allowance from your parents. But, I mean, overall, I didn't really start getting into heavy drugs until I hit Montreal.
Okay.
I went to Montreal to work for the weekend. I've been living there 3.5 years, hooked to crack cocaine.
Oh. Now, have you ever stolen to support your habit for drugs?
All the time.
What about you, Nevada? Have you ever stolen to support your habit for drugs?
I've stolen twice, and I got caught once, and as I was getting caught, they thought 2 months thought I was faking, but I went into a seizure, and they let me go by bringing me to the hospital. So I'm like, okay, that was a savior. But the next time, I was with my friend in a wheelchair, and we were like, sorry, it's the metal. It's the metal. We melted too many pop cans. We wanted to repair it. It had too many holes.
So, can I just ask a couple more questions, Patty? Because now, what is the direction you're going in now? What are you looking to?
I'm looking for abstinence.
Okay.
I'm currently working in a part-time job. I work at Maggie's as a harm reduction worker.
What is Maggie's?
Maggie's is an organization ran by sex workers and allies. We support the working girls, people with addictions. We have a drop-in every Wednesday from 2 to 5.
Okay. So, how helpful has Maggie's really been for you?
It's been very helpful. In order. Well, let me see. How can I say this? It's been very helpful in the sense where I've gotten all kinds of great support from there. I've met all different sex workers there. It's been amazing.
Now,